Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. It is Saturday morning, and this is Multifamily Unplugged. Certainly glad that you're here. Buckle up this morning, though. Grab a cup of coffee, sit back. You're going to love today's show. I have a great guest, Matthew Teifke from Austin, Texas, with Teifke Real Estate. They have 1,100 units under management and a lot more to come this year. So I know that Matthew's going to share a lot. We're going to talk this morning about private equity and why it makes sense right now to go back into the real estate market, what real estate is doing right now, where we're at in the market cycle, and what the bigger players are doing and why you should follow their footsteps right now. Before we jump in this morning, though, let me ask you, what have you been working on? What are you working on in your business right now? And, I talk about that a lot because I think it's really that we need to focus on our intentions and our intentionality about what's going on, where we're at. You kind of have to take some inventory of the first quarter. Here we are already into the second quarter of the new year. And are you on track? Are you off track? Have you reset your goals? Have you looked at them again to move forward? I love to have that conversation with people. So, hey, if you're looking for some input, if you're looking for some guidance, don't hesitate to reach out. Be more than happy to have a conversation with you. You can DM me or send me an email directly. If you're not following us on social media, please do. You want to subscribe to our YouTube and Instagram. We're always bringing great guests and great content on Multifamily Unplugged. So let me bring Matthew in here. Let's jump in and get started this morning. Matthew, how's it going?
It's going good, man. Always good to come on a show and talk to you and other people listening in. And it's a blessing that we get to live the life we do, man, and do stuff like this. So I'm excited.
100%. I was thinking before we jumped on this morning, and, this is the second time in a couple of weeks you and I have reconnected, but boy, we hadn't connected for maybe 4 years ago. We met, we were on a podcast together. And here we are again, circling back, and boy, you've covered a lot of ground in that time, which I'm super excited about diving into and showing people, a little bit of examples of what they can do and where they can go. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation this morning. But hey, as we get started, one of the first things I always love to talk about and ask people is, in one word, what best describes you personally and professionally?
Man, right here on my hat, we capitalize the TRE, but entrepreneur and real estate entrepreneur. But that's one of the things that I think of. And then if I had to pick another one, I'd say what I've learned about myself is I'm a gatherer. I gather people together. Someone told me that, and I was like, that's a good one. So those two are what would stick out to me.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. They always talk about men and women being hunters and gatherers, right? And but you being a gatherer, that's a pretty good conceptual view of what you do when you syndicate real estate and bring equity to great real estate deals.
Yeah, it's interesting. I haven't thought of it in that term, like you said, hunter or gatherer, because I am actually a hunter in that sense. But whenever I'm talking about gatherer, like, it's pretty interesting, man. Everything that I try to do, everything that I'm doing on a daily basis, I'm trying to have a very open book. Like, I'm going to tour an apartment in an hour and a half, and I'll go post on LinkedIn, Facebook, video. I'm going to tour this apartment. Whoever wants to come join me. And I'm on a phone call with the broker, and I'll tell people, dial in. And I've got 8 people on mute listening into the phone call. Yeah. And so I'm just trying to maximize my value, my, capture, everything that I'm doing. I'm trying to bring more people in to be part of that.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great idea. So how do you do that when you're going to go live or when you're going to get on a phone call with a broker? how do you reach out to those people in your world to, hey, jump on this call and listen in?
I literally just message it. So I'm in different group chats, Telegram, sometimes I'll put it on my Facebook. Sometimes I'll just text, a couple people that maybe that conversation will be relevant to them. And I just say, dial in. Like they already know what I'm up to. So they might not, get a lot of context because it's happening in real time.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing people into that.
And so do you have a conference call number that you do that on, or?
No, literally just call my cell, answer it. I hit merge.
Oh, gotcha.
And then I find out, oh, wow, there's a limit. I limit out. You can only add so many people.
How many people can you add?
It kind of shifts now with this new iPhone update, but it's like 7 to 10.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good handful of people. So that's an interesting idea. I know I have a buddy who every once in a while he'll say, hey, I'm going to be on this call, call me and I'll mute you and you can listen in, and you can hear somebody else's conversation. So hey, listen, before we dive in too deep, because I know we're going to get kind of deep here this morning, tell people a little bit about who you are, your background, how you got doing what you're doing, and what you're working on right now.
Sure. So I'm here in Texas. I'm 35 years old. Really got into real estate because my mom was acquiring houses when I was a little kid. Single mom. She ended up buying like 17, 18 houses. Wow. And I was really blessed to see what that looks like, what's required to do that, and what's possible. So I got my license as a real estate agent in college. And I'm telling you, man, just 16 years in at this point, and just worked as hard as I possibly could have, and studied history, real estate, like tycoons, Trammell Crow, different guys like that, read the books, got a master's degree in real estate. I own a real estate brokerage. My wife does property management. I'm buying apartments. That's why I say the entrepreneur aspect of it. And really, it's always just been this learning until one point I'm like, man, real estate's all about people. So then like 6-7 years ago, I shifted to just building a really big database of connections and people that know me and trust me and playing the long game with it. But I've done so many different aspects. I say this with humility, but like I just never have come across somebody like me that's focused on it at such an early age and made a career out of it. And like I've leased apartments, managed 1,000 houses, own a brokerage of 180 agents, bought laundromats, RV parks, houses, multifamily. It's all I've ever done. And I've also been humbled, man. I personally made $4 million in real estate. I put it into a publicly traded company and it went to like actual zero. And like, that was depressing. And it actually got me a lot closer to God. And it taught me a lot about money and risk and all the things. And that's all in 16 years, like I made it, I lost it. I 180 agents, 800 doors, single family managing, but I've just learned like to play the long game and to get around the right people. And I've been on the other side of it. Now I have $100 million of assets, and by no means am I fully retired and just banking and making all this money. And I'm just here to like be vulnerable, help people understand what all this really looks like. Right. I'm sure you can kind of attest on some of these things. None of these deals are exactly what you think they're going to be. And you're not retiring off of buying one deal or two deals. And so go ahead.
I was just going to say, I have a friend who always says the math doesn't lie, and it's in the underwriting. And you can only get so close, right, on your underwriting, but until you really get into a deal and start operating a deal, that's where you really start to see what needs to be done, maybe what the seller lied about, and what changes you have to make. But, I love what you said, that this isn't always as easy as you think it's going to be.
Never, man. I mean, I'm constantly trying to help people and teach people and, being on the other side of it. Like I had, for example, this lady called me. She's an attorney. She called me 2 days ago. Attorney for 30 years. She's got 200 grand saved up, and she wants to replace her income through real estate. And it's just like, after doing this for so long, it's like, to be honest, it's not that realistic. Like it's possible, but it takes 20 years to do something like that. I mean, even if she had $1 million in cash and say she invests that at 7% in a deal, she's making 70 grand a year. Like that's great, but like she doesn't even have $1 million, right? And most people don't either. And so as much I'm trying to really bring light to a lot of this stuff, because there's so many challenges. And as much as people think you're going to just get in here and just cash flow and retire, it's not that realistic. It's a career that you can get to that point. Absolutely. But it takes 15, 20, 30 years. I mean, I don't know anybody who just 2-3 years in is just making 20 grand a month on real estate.
Right. Yeah.
But I think people think that's possible. And sure, it's possible, but it's not realistic.
But it will happen over time. So it's
Absolutely.
not realistic day one or in that first or second year, but over time, right?
Yeah.
You have to stay consistent. And a lot of times I think people get off track because they lose the momentum of what you need to do every day. And one of the things I love about you, and we had this conversation the other day, you told me how much money you raised last year and how many units you bought last year. And, what clicked for me at that point was the fact that you said, I grind it out every day. And it's doing those same things every day, almost building into the mundane boredom of calling people and talking to people and going live and posting and getting people's attention about who you are and what you do. And most people don't want to do that.
Totally, man. And that's what you touched on, a couple of things that are important to me. One, I keep talking about that exact word, momentum, because whether you're getting started or you've got a bunch of experience, you've got to have momentum. And
Right.
I just talked to so many people that are 2 years in, 8 months in, 3 years in, and they're not getting anything done, but they have no momentum with anything in this business. Like you have to be having deals, new investor connections, new relationships. And that's the beautiful thing about this business is if you do it right, everything gets better every year. Your net worth goes up, your connections go up, your deal flow, but you have to have that momentum going, right? And I don't think enough people have it because they don't understand the reality to what all this looks like or what's required. And that's really important for me. So I'm trying my best to figure out, how do I convey what does momentum look like? Like you and I know what momentum looks like because we know the results that come from it. But other people don't realize, like me inviting people to this apartment, that's momentum. I've got 3 people that responded that are going to show up. The next time I've got 6 people. That's just one small little aspect of it. But to have all of those things building at the same time, that's the key.
Yeah. So you, what's interesting is you really have a localized real estate business too. It's right there in Austin and in the greater, MSA. And most of what I do out of state, right? So I do in other markets. But what's interesting is that whole process I could do even in Tampa, Florida, or Dallas, Texas, or, and I don't live in those markets, but I could drop into those markets and go live like you talk about. And I think other people can do that also. So it doesn't matter if you're in Boise, Idaho, or if you're in Cleveland, Ohio, or, wherever your market is or where you're buying real estate at, you can run those same types of techniques and systems to attract that circle of influence for you.
Absolutely, man. And you touched on a couple of things I want to just touch on real quick, but you said the social media, right? Like nobody wants to be on social media. Everyone's like, I'm not a social media guy. I'm like, nobody is, right? But what you got to realize, what I've internalized is like, if you don't have a social media presence in real estate, like you're missing it because you have to be known. But you're either leading it or you're sitting back and watching. Like, take your pick. If you don't want to be on it, but you're sitting there watching it, you're still doing the same thing, but you're not even leading, which is worse, right?
Yeah.
So get out there and lead and know that you have to be known. And then the other thing, a little bit of a side note, but I think it's relevant, is I've always heard everybody's like, find the deal, find the money. And I think that's a little bit of a lie. Yes, you have to have a good deal to attract capital, but you could find the best deal in the world. And if you don't have the right seeds planted and know people for a long period of time, maybe you do find the money, but maybe the money is going to own 98% of the deal, right? That's just like an example. But not enough people are aware of how challenging raising capital is. And I've never heard somebody that is actually raising money that says it's an easy thing and, you know, you find the great deal and the money just flows in. Like, it doesn't actually work like that.
Right. Yeah. You got to go look for it for sure. Hey, I want to circle back to, you know, your one word, right? Entrepreneur. Do you think you've always been an entrepreneur, or is that something that's developed in your life over time?
Probably developed. Like, it's hard to say though, because, you know, I don't know about you when you're a kid. Like, I always hear stories about, when I think of an entrepreneur, like they were selling stuff as a little kid, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't me. But maybe it would have been. I was just playing baseball my whole life. So like, I mean, I started playing baseball at 5 years old, and that's just what I did. I don't even know if I necessarily choose to do that. I mean, I'm 5, parents signed me up, but I enjoyed it. But I mean, I played every weekend, every summer. I was just into baseball. But if I wasn't, I don't know if I would have been selling something or not. But I did know from high school, like, I don't want to look at a clock, and I don't want to work a job like that. And as I've gotten older, like, you see all sides of things. I mean, being an entrepreneur is not necessarily better than being an employee. Both things, both are very beautiful. Like, there's so many times where I'm like, it'd be really nice to clock out right now and know where my next paycheck's coming from. But it's just not me. But it really came back to the story of that was like, I was looking at the clock waiting to get off of my job. And I remember like thinking, if I'm wanting time to go by, like, I'm literally wanting time to just speed up, I'm just wanting my life to just waste away. Like, time's the only thing we got.
Right.
So I don't want to be thinking about life that way ever.
Yeah. You know what? And the funny thing about time is time goes fast, you know. Listen, social media this morning, I was, looking at Facebook, and a post popped up from a year ago, and I go, man, this event, this was a year ago already. It just like blew by. And it's funny, and you can, I think people underestimate for sure what they can do in, a year versus overestimating what they can do in 30 days. People get in this business and they think they want to learn it all and do it all, but it takes time. And I always, my coaching business, I always tell people, I say, hey, you have to look back. Where were you 6 months ago? Did you know these processes 6 months ago?
Man, amen, brother. And a couple things that I would say to that, in the hope of adding value, is I've somehow come up with this analogy of like working on cars. I don't know anything about working on cars, but if you were to go work at an auto shop, right, you'd never come in and just like want to build the whole car. And you're new, right? You'd ask like the simple, basic stuff, and you'd work your way up to building the car. But right. I see in real estate, everybody wants to do the whole thing right away.
Yeah,
that's just how it is. And then I also see people say, I don't really know what to ask, and I challenge them in a loving way of like hoping to help get results. And I'm like, Mike, if you don't know what to ask me, the only thing that tells me is you're not thinking. Like, you have to be able to come up with your own questions that are well thought through. And if you don't know what to ask, you're just like, imagine hey, Mike, I want to build this Porsche, but I don't even know what to ask you. What is that? That's on me.
Yeah. I heard, and I want to tell this story. So one of the first events I ever went to was a Tony Robbins event, and it was a fire walk. I walked on fire, and
Nice.
but I'll never forget this. At that event, he talked about asking questions, and I get accused a lot by people in my life who say, "Man, you ask so many questions." But I think that's how we grow, and it's how we learn, and it's how we really conceptualize things. But I remember Tony talking about. He said, "Look, write down a question, and then once you write it down, now write out 20 answers to that question,
Yeah.
because you never really get a good answer till you get to 18, 19, 20 on your answers." He said that first 4 or 5 or 6 answers, they kind of just roll off, they're natural. But when you get to the end, you have better answers. And that's where you really get processes and be able to build things and be able to go forward. I kind of equate it to using AI today. And, let me ask you, are you using AI in your business? What are you using it for? Are you using it to raise capital at all? Is it helping you in any way? Tell me, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm kind of just learning, man. I'm not using it in a big way. I think it's really cool. I've got a lot of friends that are deep into it, and I'm staying kind of close, just asking them questions. My role has always been people, connections, and I want that to be my role, but I know AI can help that. And so I'm just trying to figure out what's the best way for that to take place over time. But it is good at it's good at flushing things out. Like it could be a psychologist to you. I mean, in that sense, like here's the struggle I'm having. What do you think? It can give you a lot of great answers. And to your point of asking all those questions, is like when I was first getting started, and still to this day, I want to come to you, Mike, and ask you a question that like blows your mind. You're like, wow, I don't even know the answer to that question. That's the questions I want to present to people that I'm looking for real advice from.
Yeah.
One, to show them how focused and thoughtful I am, and two, because I'm actually, like you said, if I answer all 18 of my solutions and then I ask you the question based on that, I'm going to be so much further ahead with that process.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
there's so many answers that you can get. I mean, like you said, with AI, with the internet, all the basic answers are out there, but ask the well thought through question. As far as the AI, I definitely plan to use it in a much bigger way, but it's so interesting and complicated. And I mean, my partner's got bots that are doing all the stuff, and it's just, I see the value, but it's just not my personality type. And so for now, I'm just continuing to do what I do.
Yeah. Well, you know what? There's a lot to be said for being, somebody who builds connections, right? And real connections. One of the things you said earlier was the right people. And, I think there's different areas in our business that we need to have the right people around. But, when it comes to raising capital and, bringing in enough capital to close a deal, how do you, what are the right people for you for that?
Well, it's the whole process I've been talking about just all, man, like you said, a lot can happen in 1 year and 3 years and 5 years. Every person, like I talked to you, like you said, we talked 4 years ago and now we're talking now. Like when I first talked to you or anybody, I try to recognize this as a very long game. So I'm just giving insights on how I think about these things. But like I'll pull a deal right today, for example, and I'll just share it with everybody, not even thinking I'm going to raise the money on it, but what do they think about it? How do they, are they associating me with real estate today? Do they have capital for the next 5 years of this plan with this person?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great point, because I think a lot of people think like right now today, and they're raising capital on a deal because their back's against the wall and they need that. So I had heard Grant Cardone tell a story, on social media one time about somebody he had in his database for 20 years. And every year he'd ask the guy to put money in his deals, or, invest. And the guys told him no. But after 20 years, he invested $2 million with them. So you never know where those investors are going to come from, when they're going to show up, when they're going to want to invest. So I think it's important to be building your database, your circle of influence, and having people, that are going to invest somewhere ultimately down the road.
Man, it's so true. And like, not only that, but if you're not doing that, then let's just say you just get lucky. Like if you're not building a business and having momentum, maybe you get lucky and you come across the $2 million or $10 million investor and you close the deal somehow, which is also highly unlikely. But even when you do that, like if you're going to be raising the capital and you're the GP, you're not going to retire. Right. So like you have to, that's the momentum of like, I think if people could internalize it, and myself too, like what am I building off of every day that I have momentum with that's not directly leading to dollars like today, but am I aware of what's getting better and improved? And if you're not aware of that, then nothing's going to happen.
So if you were a brand new investor just starting today to go and raise capital, what are the first 3 to 5 things you would do every day to build that momentum for yourself?
First thing I would do if I was going to be raising, I would probably, you break it down into there's deal finding and then there's capital raising. And if I'm not doing both or have a partner, then you can't, nobody can do both of those things, in my opinion, at a high level. Right. So pick which one you are and either get a partner or go raise with you and with me and with whoever else, right? So I'd identify the people that I want to be aligned with as far as who's going to be finding the deals and operating them. Okay, got that in place. Now, okay, how do I become a great capital raiser? And it's back to the momentum. I'd have to have social media platforms. I would have to have a weekly or monthly meetup / Zoom call that I invite everybody I know and continue to build off of that. And you're not looking for this hard yes or no on investments. You're just educating and you're gathering people to whenever the time's right, then you can have an ask.
Yeah.
So I would be very active on social. I would, if you're scared to call the 10 wealthiest people you know, then don't be a capital raiser. Yeah. Right. So that's another thing is like, you gotta, but you don't have to, I'm not calling you Mike and like, I have to have the framework in my mind that I'm not like, Mike, can I have the money? Yes or no. I'm bringing you value and I'm being curious at the same time to navigate that conversation after the fact.
So important. I think a lot of times people, here's what people say. I can't go borrow money from people. And I always tell people, I say, you're not borrowing money. You're giving them an opportunity to increase their financial freedom and their financial future by giving them an opportunity to invest in these real estate offerings.
100%. And the best way to not have that mindset is to be confident in yourself and to know that you're bringing value, not just stumbling upon random things and pitching it to people. Right. Like that's the other thing I try to hammer home to people is like this business, as much as people might not see it, and this is extremely competitive.
Yeah.
It might not look like it, but it is. And so the question is, what are you doing that makes you competitive? Do you have some kind of advantage? Mine is like massive network, open book with everything I do, know everybody in my market, hyper focused, don't miss a beat on a deal, active on every social media platform, have a brokerage of 188, like all these little things that make me really competitive. Right. But if you can't sit back and think, what is it that makes me competitive? You're not going to be able to get real results.
Yeah. And you got to figure out your skill set.
Yeah. And but then you got to be creative in that as well. Like, it's not just hard work. Hard work is absolutely like critical, but like, what are you doing that's unique and different that other people aren't doing or aren't thinking about?
Right. Yeah. And you know what? If you don't like to put the work in or hard work, you might want to go find something else to do. Because, Matthew, and I think you can relate to this. If you remember back in 2021, 2020, 2022, it was like there were a lot of people in this space, right?
Yeah.
Everybody was doing multifamily and raising capital, and you had the wind at your back, and people, a lot of those people are out of the business today.
Almost
Deals
all.
went,
Yeah.
deals went sideways. When I think about some of the people that I've been on podcasts with or have been on my podcast that aren't even in the business anymore today, but then you look at people like yourself, like me, if you're willing to ride out the storm and you're willing to stay committed, when that market does change and the wind is at your back, you're going to do very well.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of fly-by nights. And I mean, I'm convinced that real estate's a game of the last man standing.
Yeah.
That's
100%.
the game. That's it.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to expedite for certain people, like you said, to hammer home what it looks like. So because it's probably not for most people that think it is for them.
Right.
And so if I can save them 10 years of their life, then I feel good about that. But the key is like, who's going to be around and are you enjoying the process? Like, I'm not trying to retire. I feel so blessed to be doing this and to go, look at an apartment after that, and then to go meet a buddy for coffee. Like, that's the actual win. It's not, I'm a billionaire and I'm living on a beach. Like, sure, that's maybe a goal and that sounds nice to everybody, but like, that's 30, 40 years down the line. So might as well enjoy this in the best way you can and feel like you're creating and building and you're able to like love it every single day. That's the win.
Yeah, you got to have fun with it. If it's not fun, if it's work, then it won't come together for you. You got to have fun. And, some of the things I love doing, like what you've talked about, but I love going and speaking at meetups and being live and telling my story and talking about real estate and then having those conversations after that. Right.
Yes.
So live presentations and the people that hear me on a podcast or are tune into my podcast that call me throughout the week and say, hey, how do you do this? Or how's this worked for you? And have those kind of conversations with people. I just love to give back and build into other people.
Amen, man. And we need it. I need it too. I mean, I need help. I need partners. I need capital. I need deals. Like,
yeah. Well, we're going to definitely do some things together here, I think. So,
amen, brother. So I don't know if you saw this, but it's just interesting. So I did a TV show with Cardone, and did you see that by chance?
I did. I saw some clips of it, and I was going to go there next. So I'm glad you brought it up.
The reason I brought it up, so I ended up offering Grant, basically this deal for free, but it was
for $1, cool. Right?
Yeah.
He bought in for $1.
Yeah, and I had a developer call me today, and he said he saw that show, and he wants to do the same thing to me. Wow. I want to give you equity in my development for free, but here's what I need. Here's the value that I bring to him. There's things that are required for that. Yeah. But like, how special is that like you plant the seed of value, the value comes back. I have this term that I've been using. I'm trying to think if I can come up with a different term. Because I'm so fast and like, to some people it seems reckless, but there's strategy and structure to everything I'm doing. It's just people don't quite see it. Some people do, but I have this term of reckless abandon of value add, just giving everything I have and not wondering what comes back to me. And I've just never seen that actually go wrong. I don't know if reckless is the best word, but like, I genuinely live this way. Like, if you need something, someone else that I just met, and I have the ability to help, I don't have closed doors. to where I'm not going to help you. And it's like a currency.
Yeah.
Like if I add value for you, Mike, like you kind of feel like you owe me, right? In a real,
of course.
especially if I keep doing it. And so like, not only is it a currency and you owe me, like that's the selfish way of looking at it, but it's just a fun and the right thing to do anyways.
Right.
And so much comes from that.
Well, that's what I always teach people too. You know, I mean, when I first start coaching somebody, we talk about relationships and building a team and networking, and people say, well, how do you do that? And one of the things I always encourage people to do is go out and meet people and find out about them and what can you do for them? What value can you add? You know, one of the questions I love always asking people is, hey, what do you need today that maybe I can help you with?
Yeah.
Right. Is it a connection? Is it helping a process? Is it learning something? You know, what can I do to help you today to move your business forward?
Totally, man. And like for people, and there's levels to it. I'm thinking of this real time because like I do the same thing and I say like, hey, Mike, how can I add value for you? Give me a challenge. And I mean that, like, give me a challenge, right? But I usually typically say that to people that, you know, I'm ahead of in some sense, like experience or deal flow wise. But then if there's somebody that's above me where I'm trying to go, I'm not even asking them that. I'm just figuring that out for them. Like, I don't like if I ask you, Mike, like I'm kind of giving you another job and there's probably a million things that you could tell me that I could do to add value for you, but I should figure out the best thing I can do and then just give it to you versus giving you another job. And you have to come up with all these. I'm like, I don't know, man, bring everybody you can to meet me, you know, have them follow me on social media. Like there's a million things I could tell you, but like plug in the best way you think you can.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. And, you know, sometimes it's just little things. Like you said, just follow me on social media, you know, and, you know, share my content. So, hey, I appreciate you being here today. Super excited. You know, in closing, why don't you let people know how they can get a hold of you and why they should reach out to you right now?
Yeah. Matt Teifke at Gmail. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Matthew Teifke. I feel pretty driven and clear that I'm filling a niche that not a lot of people are. Everybody has different communities and coaching, and they're all great in their own ways. What I'm after is to partner with people. Like, yes, I'm raising money, but outside of that, like I want to own and invest in other people's deals. Last year I bought an RV park in Arkansas. I bought a retail building in Florida, and these are from other people doing these deals. And like, what's the value that I can bring? I have to figure that out. Like half the time I can help get good debt. Half the time I can raise capital. But I need to have people that are locked in and not just finding basic deals, but really, really good ones. And that also comes back to, there's a guy named Trammell Crow, if you're familiar. And
know Trammell Crow very well.
Yeah. And so like, I resonate with his approach of having partners.
Yeah.
Right. And like, everybody's had a bad partnership, and some people, but apparently nobody's ever been a bad partner. But like, just because you've had a bad partnership doesn't mean you stop. It means you figure out how to do it better. Right. But like, this is a team sport, and it's no fun on your own, and it's extremely complicated on your own, and you're limited on your own. Even if you did want to do all the things on your own, you can't grow. So finding great partners, and I want to be a great partner. Am I perfect? No. Do I make mistakes? Yes. But I want to be better, and I want to hear about it, and I want to plug in the best way that I possibly can. And I don't know many people that are offering that to others. Like, I wish I would have had somebody offering this, but now I am. And like I said, I need help as well. And so it's like, I want to collaborate and do more with people.
Yeah. Awesome. And I love that too. I have a partnership program, and I want to partner with people too. And I think that, and I look at my investors, and I think you do this too, which I really, really like, is you look at your investors as your partner, not just an investor in the deal, but they literally are your partner. And I think that comes back in transparency and in the conversations we have with them along the way, not just up front, right?
Totally, man. Absolutely. Yeah. It's a long game, man. And,
Yeah.
you look at most successful real estate people, like big time guys, they've gone through 2 bankruptcies in their lives, right? Like there's so many challenges, and it's easy and there was a time where I probably should have filed bankruptcy when I lost $4 million. But it's easy for people to sit on the sideline and judge. And, like you said about all the people that were in the business raising all this easy money, I wasn't doing that. But
Sure.
on the flip side, the capital and the people that were giving them money, they played just as much of a part of it as anybody else. They enabled that. It's not like these operators are lying about the facts of their deal. Everybody just thought the market was going to keep going the same direction.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, awesome. Hey, I appreciate you being here today. What can I do for you?
Staying in touch, man. I'd love to, however we can, I can help with, if I can talk to your group or speak to them, or I'd love to come coach with you one day, whatever, man. Or we can look at deals together. Entrepreneur, brother. So however I can plug in and love to help you as well. If that means new guests or connections, I'm here for it.
I appreciate that. And listen, I'm going to move you to the back room. If you hang around for a minute, let me say goodbye to everybody, and then you and I will catch up real quick.
Sounds good.
Stand by. Hey, everybody. I hope that this was big for you today. I really feel that, Matthew's coming from a place of giving back and helping others. And, he's doing that on a massive level. And so I hope that there were just a couple of golden nuggets along the way. Maybe it was going live on social media. Maybe it was just starting some social media for yourself. Maybe it was going to some networking groups, but maybe it was just getting outside of your own shell and doing something different. I hope today resonates with you, and you go back and listen to this a couple of times. This is what I love about these podcasts, is we can go back and we can listen and listen again and listen more, because you're going to always hear something else that you might have missed. And I know that we dropped a lot of bombs, a lot of golden nuggets on this episode today. So I'm glad that you're here. Remember, we're here every Saturday morning, 10:30, Multifamily Unplugged. Hey, if you're looking to move your business forward and you're looking for some help, just some input, don't hesitate to reach out. Reach out to us on social media or email me directly. Everybody have a great week, and I look forward to talking to you soon.